Today I'm going to talk about why I sold my Tenere 700. Now I'm speaking from experience. I've owned the T7 for about 1.5 years and I really sold it because I couldn't handle its deficiencies anymore. And today in this video I'm going to specifically talk about why I sold it. And firstly, the first reason is it's too top heavy. Although it weighs in at about 460 odd pounds, it does have a very high center of gravity. Now it is lighter than the KTM 860, but the problem with the Teneres is the center of gravity is too high. So I've been in many. I got into an interesting situation where the road was slightly inclined, and then I tipped over the bike, and the bike just because it was so top heavy, it just fell. And I just didn't enjoy that experience at all. And it's really mainly due to the high height of the bike and the high center of gravity. The other thing that I did not like about the Tenere 700 is it does not have tubeless tires. It has tube tires, and not having tubeless tires is, for me, it's a joke because they're much noisier on the freeway. When I was riding the Tenere 700, when I did my long Yosemite trips, I noticed it would get very, very noisy on the freeway, particularly when you're going 75 miles an hour plus. And so I didn't enjoy that at all. The other thing I did not like about the Tenere 700 was its weak engine. I felt that it was too small of an engine with not enough power for the size of the bike. It is a big bike. When you stand up right next to the Tenere, you'll notice how big it is. It's tall, it's big, it's got an extremely long wheelbase, but I feel the engine is weak. Yamaha put in to try to leverage the economics of manufacturing, right? So instead of putting a larger size engine in it, they just use the MT-07 engine. I think this engine works fine on the MT-07 because the MT-07 is a smaller bike and weighs less. But putting that engine on a big size adventure bike, like its full scale size, is, I think, very weak, and I just couldn't handle the weakness of the power. And I realized the power deficiencies when I got my FJR, and I noted, wow, there's so much power and torque. And I'd gone away from my roots of performance bikes and ended up on this adventure bike, which didn't make any sense. Now that leads me on to my next point. Adventure bikes, particularly the Tenere 700, and this applies to all adventure bikes, they give you the illusion of doing dual sports. It's one bike for doing everything, but really, in reality, that is not practical at all, right? The marketing hype is making the adventure bikes the greatest things of all, but they're really not good bikes at all from my point of view. They're weak. They have high center of gravities. They're weak. They're just very impractical. They're just very impractical for the roads, and also I think for off-road, because you go off-road, you tip it, it's gonna fall really, really easy. And then the reality was I was just doing very, very limited off-road. I was doing maybe 100%, 99%, and actually 100% of my riding on roads. And it's just an illusion that, oh, you can take it off-road and you can do all those stunts. That's just ridiculous. It does not make any sense at all. And then the other thing I noted about the Tenere 700 was there's just too much shifting, and it was related to the point about the underpowered engines for the size of the bike. It's just too much shifting. You're shifting gears too much up and down to keep momentum on the bike. So I didn't enjoy that. Compared that to my FJR and my MT-09, you can just pretty much rock and get into very high speed in the same gear and pull away. The other thing I didn't like about the Tenere 700 was the crappy windshield. The windshield just sucks out stock. There's too much wind buffeting with it on the freeway. The other thing that's a joke about the Tenere 700 is the tank cover. It's this flip plastic thing, and I felt that it was leaking gas over time. I felt that the smell of gas would leak through. It wasn't a tight fit. So I prefer the normal standard, aluminum tank covers, and I felt I could smell the gas. So in a way, if I look back at my decision in hindsight, I did enjoy the Tenere 700, but I think the deficiencies over time, I learned more and more about the bike, riding it for about a year and a half. So I realized that I really got sold into the hype. The marketing was great on the Tenere 700, but it's really all hype, and it's really not a good bike. It's not good for the twisties. It's just sail on the freeway. It sails, and it becomes a sail on freeway. You get hit by the wind. It's just too light. It's too big, and it becomes a sail on the freeway. And so the net of it is, right, I'm just so happy I got rid of the Tenere 700. In fact, I sold it at a higher price than what I paid for because of all the hype, right? Everyone's into the hype. Oh, it's one great bike. But in reality, I think if you're considering getting the Tenere 700, right, save yourself some time. Don't even just get off the waiting list. Save yourself money and avoid the mistake that I made, and just spend your mic on something. Spend your hard-earned money on something better. But if you really want the Tenere 700, go ahead and get it. If you really want it, there's an emotional side of buying bikes. If you really want it, just get it. But in my experience, I realized that it was an emotional mistake. I got sucked into the hype and the dramas, and I'm just so glad I've sold it, and now I can ride my high performance bikes that I have in my stable. Okay, that's all I wanted to communicate today. This is the channel for no bullshit. It's just really, honest, based on what I know about the bikes, I will communicate. And if I probably didn't have the right data points when I initially got it, but then over time I corrected my decision and sold it. And so I took accountability for my purchase of the bike. Okay, so that's all I want to communicate. Stay tuned for more videos. Cheers.